Welcome back for a new Collections and Compilations video. This time we will be looking at some more of my personal favorite compilations and collections of all time. And the music of choice today I chose is from Shin Megami Tensei Persona 3. Or more specifically, the version from the portable PSP version of the game. So with that said, first up, we'll look at a couple of more retro, though I covered more of the older stuff in the last video. First, we will be looking at a more of a collection rather than a compilation from the PS2 era, and that is the Devil May Cry 5th Anniversary Collection for the PS2, which includes the totals of all three originals, and of course the original boxes and everything. Yeah, and two of these three are still factory sealed. Definitely a great way to go about from the earlier era. This is definitely a pretty good collection for the time, because it was like $20 and you got all three Devil May Cry games in it. That was a really good deal. Also, we go on to more 2D fine side things on the PlayStation 2 next. We look at compilation, sadly, Volume 2. I don't have Volume 1. This is from the SNK Playmore era. This is, of course, Fatal Fury, Battle. But in this collection, you got three classics. You got Real Bout, Fatal Fury, Real Bout, Fatal Fury Special, and Real Bout 2, The Newcomers, which are all really solid looking 2D era fighting games from, of course, the juggernaut that is SNK when it comes to 2D fighters. I have personally always had more of an attachment to the Fatal Fury series over the King of Fighters, but with that said, this is definitely a great way to go about getting the game. You can get a digital version in modern day. And it's the thing, I also have a lot of like digital compilations and stuff, but they're digital, not physical, so I have like two different compilations from Konami of collections of Castlevania games. Next on physical, though, we would see this release for the, of course, GameCube. A little weird design with everything, like you had the Nintendo GameCube logo on the opposite side for some reason and stuff. It was weird. This was called the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. It was considered a promotional disc thing. It included The Legend of Zelda 1 and 2. It included Ocarina of Time, and considered to be a somewhat not the greatest port of Majora's Mask. Keep in mind, as I think I've said in the past, this was the way I played Majora's Mask the first time, not only in 64. Next, we get an interesting looking compilation for the PSP, and that is called Capcom Classics Collection Remixed. You got a lot of classics like Sidearms 1941, Legendary Wings, Forgotten Worlds, Black Tiger, Strider, Final Fight, Bionic Commando, Three Wonders, Avengers, no, not the Marvel. Uh, you had things like Captain Commando, which is a really out there beat 'em up. Last Duel, Mega Twins. You had like Magical Sword, Street Fighter 1 is in this collection. This was how I first time ever played the original Street Fighter 1, which you see in that picture right there. This was how I played it, because I didn't have a TurboGrafx 16, as it was called here in America on it, rather than Street Fighter, it was called Fighting Streets for some reason. I think at the time I had to do with copyrights and everything. Still a really cool collection you have. Now, on the Wii side of things, we have another SNK collection. We have the King of Fighters collection, the Orochi Saga, which gave you a total of 5 King of Fighters games. You had King of Fighters 94, 95, 96, 97, and 98. Like I said, it is the Orochi saga, the era of like the Orochi power. Also, you would see, interestingly enough, the Metroid Prime Trilogy, which is really cool and unique. And I love this steel book. But yeah, it includes all three of the first person shooter games in the series. Surprisingly, it's getting harder to find now, this for the Wii, which is interesting given Wii is not relatively that hard to find stuff. Next, move on to a indie collection, which I highly recommend, and that is the Journey Collector's Edition, which gave you a total of 3 different indie games, which are all good, though Journey is the masterpiece, in my opinion anyways. Still great. You can get this still like $10 for 3 great indie games, in my opinion. Definitely good. Also, you had the more on the collection side of things rather than compilations. You had the Zone of the Enders collection, which gave you Zone of the Enders 1 and 2, which 1 was more a traditional 3D style game, and 2 was more anime-esque. Very much so, especially with the anime cutscenes. Of course, Kojima, of course, was involved in the making of these games. It's a great, honestly, in my opinion, it's a great thing. You get 2 solid, really great games, and you can still get this super cheap. Next, we have an interesting HD collection. We have the Ico and original Shadow of the Colossus. Yeah, I know I still need to get that off. But 2 great games. Now, in my opinion, Shadows of the Colossus has definitely got a lot of love, and it deserves it, but I wish more people would show some love to Ico. I don't know why more people don't show love to the game. Yeah, it's sort of like an escort mission type game, more or less, but I love the puzzles and the platforming elements in the game, and the art style is gorgeous. Also, you have more of a compilation. You have the Metal Gear Solid collection, which gives you the original Metal Gear for NES. You also get Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid VR Missions, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns and of the Patriots, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, you had other collections, which were all PSP games. But total, this is games from 1997 to 2012. It's a great collection, and I consider it a must for any fan of Kojima, as well as any fan of Metal Gear Solid. And you can still get this relatively affordable. It's not that expensive. You'd be surprised, actually. I would have expected it to be actually harder than it is. Also, you have more just an HD collection. You have, of course, Final Fantasy X with Final Fantasy X-2. Yeah, trust me, I'm not the biggest fan of X-2, though I do think maybe it gets a little more hate than it should. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like, my best friend, he's like an uber lover of Final Fantasy X-2. One of the only people I know of that really loves it, though. But still good, and 10 is just, in my opinion, a modern classic RPG. Next, we skip to the 360 for a couple things. We have the Serious Sam Collection, which has recently got a digital re-release. The Serious Sam games are like classic arcade-style first-person shooters. They play very much like old-school Doom, old-school Wolfenstein. So if you like those old-school like shooters like Wolfenstein and Doom, the older games, you're going to probably enjoy the Serious Sam Collection. And it's still very affordable. It's not expensive in the least. Next, I consider an actual must, and that is the orange box, which you get, of course, Half-Life 2, along with both the full DLC expanded episodes included. Plus, you get Team Fortress 2, which is a pretty fun, ridiculous game, and you have the masterpiece that is the original Portal. Now, for me personally, of the games on the list on this, for me, Portal 1, I've replayed Portal 1 probably like 10 or 12 times. Like, in my opinion, it's a perfect game. There is no weaknesses that I can think of in the game. Literally. It's just ridiculous how well designed the game actually is. Now, on a bit newer area, we'll look quickly at some more collection stuff than compilations and HD remasters and stuff. First, we have the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which gives you remastered up, completely, basically a remake in my opinion, really. Upscale of all three original classic Crash Bandicoot games. Great thing to get, and you can get this dirt cheap because it's on more still. I consider it current gen, though I guess it's last gen, whatever. But you can get this easily, I mean, probably like 15 bucks or cheaper. So it's like super cheap and more than worth it. Also, I say the same thing about the Spyro Reignite trilogy is the same as Crash, though I'll admit a little more nostalgia towards Crash Bandicoot over Spyro. But Spyro is still great. Originally developed by individuals involved with like Insomniac and other games originally responsible. Then we got this awesome sort of remake, remaster collection of the first three Spyro games. Really great, just like Crash Bandicoot. Then we go to Mega Man with Mega Man Legacy Collections 1 and 2, which you can get both very cheap, no problem. I mean, it's constantly on sale for like $10 a piece. So it's very cheap, and these are great compilations in my personal opinion. Though I like the one from my GameCube and stuff, but I'll admit, as time has gone on, I've become more partial to these versions. Now, if you're interested, like mobile and stuff, you can also get the first one, also on the 3DS. It's a little bit pricier than getting it like on more current gen stuff, but still, it's a very good deal. If you're a Mega Man fan, then you can also go with the Mega Man X Legacy Collections, which I personally am more biased towards this, just because the X series is my personal favorite Mega Man series. It's in my top 10 favorite game series of all time. So this compilation I consider a must-own, must-have, but this is speaking as a biased fanboy, keep in mind. Then you have the known for its difficulty like the original Mega Man series. Of course, that being the Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection, which is known for being quite hard. This was more from the Game Boy Advance era. Um, very cheap, like you can get this on average usually about $20, I think now. And that's good because you're getting 6 solid titles. And if you like good difficulty and good challenge in your games, this is definitely something for you. I highly recommend. Now, go on the more handheld side of things. We have something I highly recommend called the Bit Trip. This is a collection of 6 mini games, which are all really interesting in my opinion. I'm more partial to, though, certain specific ones like Bit Trip Runner is my personal favorite. But you can get this relatively cheap, especially if you get it digital. It's way cheaper, because if you want physical, like this, you're going to have to get it through limited run games, or a scalper. But it's actually not that expensive, believe it or not. Also, you have, which I got like on sale last year on Amazon for like $7. Um, that being the Sly Cooper Trilogy collection for the obviously Vita. Now you can get this on other platforms, but I just picked up since it was a good price, and plus I never really played the old Sly Cooper games, so I was like, might as well get it. Heck, I can play it on the Vita. Sounds good to me. And I love platformers, so I felt the need to actually get it. And yeah, it is relatively cheap, and these are considered to be very good games. I've only played the 4th game to keep in mind so far. Next, if you are a Switch owner, the last 3 are some good ones I highly recommend. The first of a popular indie series. With this collection, you get all 4 games in the series, and I believe I paid like $30, and you get all 4 of these games for like $30. Not bad. I found this for on sale though at GameStop. Now you can also, I think, get this at Walmart. I'm not 100% certain on that. The collection, but I do recommend checking out if you like old school platformers and stuff. Give this series a chance. It's more than worth it in my opinion. Also, for old school like Square fans like myself, you probably have thought about or did get the Collection of Mana, which I recommend because it gives you Final Fantasy Adventure, Secret of Mana, and Trials of Mana, which this is the first time Trials of Mana was actually ever released here in the US. It is a great collection. I consider it a must-have for any Square fan. And last but not least, the SNK Neo Geo Samurai Showdown Legacy Collection. This is a must-have for any 2D fighting game fan, in my personal opinion. Now, it's a lot cheaper to gain it digitally, but if you like SNK, also I recommend going the eShop, picking up also the Neo Geo Pocket Color collection, which gives you 10 Neo Geo Pocket Color games, all classics, especially hard to get and very pricey games like Gale Fighters. You're better off going with the collection. You get 10 all-time great pocket games, and you get them for a flat fee of $39.99. More than worth it. This, yeah, you can get this very cheap on like digital sales constantly. But with that said, this is it for this video. Looking at compilations and collections, and most of the stuff is very affordable. So keep that in mind. With that said, I hope everyone has a good week. See you next time.